Alright, back in Ellensburg again. Unfortunately, the weather in Seattle wasn't very nice for the 4th of July. And I'm going through some rough patches and I would just rather have some good weather, so I came out here. Now, an experience I had during this trip reinforced the idea of why I want to stay single. So, I have a couple favorite restaurants here in the Ellensburg area. This is Ellensburg. I wanted to record this outside, but it's too windy and the noise will drown out my voice. Now, I have a couple favorite restaurants here in Ellensburg. Now, I recognize that a lot of times going to the restaurants can be tricky and a lot of people may not understand dietary restrictions, and I acknowledge that I might not be able to get my favorite foods. And so what I do is I usually like to go to a restaurant at least 70% full and just go there to have a social occasion. And I handle that very well. A lot of times I end up having to walk out or it just doesn't work, and I still maintain good chemistry with the people there, right? Even back home in Seattle, it's not guaranteed that people will remember my dietary restrictions. I have a couple favorite restaurants that I frequent because the people remember me. But a lot of times, these things happen by force of habit, right? So for example, I go to a hibachi grill, and the cook there knows that I don't like various seasonings, and he does his best job to clean the cooking area. I'm not hypersensitive, but I do try to avoid as much as I can various ingredients that give me skin problems, until he scrubs down everything, which is very nice. The problem is that out of force of habit, sometimes after he's done, he just grabs the seasoning and sprays it all over everything. And I know there's always the potential for not being able to find food. I know there's always the potential for conflict like that. So I like to go out 70% full, so that if it comes up, I apologize. Maybe we can try another time. Thank you so much. That way I don't get agitated or angry or something like that. It's good. And I handle that. The problem is that when I used to live with my family, my mom and dad always drilled into me, like, not to spoil my appetite before going out. And that used to drive me nuts, because I would listen to them and I would go out and something wouldn't go right and I would be irritable, and I didn't want to deal with it that way. I'd rather spoil my appetite and go out for a social time. And even to this day, I cannot get my family, especially my grandparents, to fully understand that, and we're always in conflict about what to eat. And the way I like to point this out is, don't you think that I've lived outside of my family's home for more than a decade altogether now? Don't you think if I didn't know how to handle eating that I would be hospitalized or institutionalized, or at best malnourished, right? It's clear I know what I'm doing, right? And unfortunately, my family thinks they know how to live my life better than I do, for whatever bizarre reason. Now that gets back to being single. A lot of my peers, whether they be at work or out in the community, think that they know how to handle my love life better than I do myself. I don't understand why. Now, getting back to spoiling one's appetite, I had a debate with a coworker of mine one time. I was debating about, I thought our options for our 401k was too limited, and I thought maybe we should send a suggestion to add some other choices in there. Now my coworker was like, having too many choices might just discourage somebody from investing altogether. And we were eating at a restaurant, and my coworker said, how would you feel if, if they served like peanuts or whatever and it spoiled your appetite? And my response was this. My response was, if you don't want your appetite to be spoiled, then don't eat them. If you like them, then clearly you like it better than your dislike for your appetite being spoiled, right? Make a choice and be happy with it. And I said, do you not trust yourself to make good choices? Do you want the government to run your life? Is that what you want? He said, no, that's not what I want. Exactly, right? You got more choices. You can always narrow them down if you want, right? Anyway, I never understood why you don't want to spoil your appetite. At the same time, in the United States, we have people who eat way too much, right? if something can spoil your appetite in a good way, isn't that a good thing? Right? And especially if it can make you less irritable, it can make you make better choices. I don't know why. Anyway, if you think you know how to run somebody's life better than they know themselves, you're probably wrong, right?